This video is brought to you by Norton, an industry leader in abrasives for 130 years and counting. If you're looking for real-world insights, tips from leading industry experts, the latest trends in products and technology, you've come to the right place. From MSC Industrial Supply, this is Tooling Up.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tooling Up. I'm your host, Toni Neary, and I'm so glad that you've joined us here today. Before we get started, please take a moment to click those like and subscribe buttons so you never miss an episode from MSC and our industry partners. All right, everybody signed up? Great. Today, we're taking a closer look at abrasive performance and how the right fiber disc can really impact efficiency on the shop floor. Specifically, we're focusing on Norton's RazorStar FS1190 fiber discs and what sets them apart when it comes to performance and longevity. Joining me is Jeremy Spencer, the product manager for Coated Abrasives at Norton. Jeremy, thanks so much for being here and welcome to Tooling Up.
Thanks, Toni. Glad to be here.
So before we get into RazorStar, Jeremy, I would love to start with a little bit of a background. Tell us a little bit about your role at Norton and how you got into the world of abrasives.
I started around almost 34 years ago. I hired as a forklift operator. I've moved through my career, I've moved up to machine operator, supervision, quality. A few years ago, I had an opportunity to be an application engineer, then a product engineer. And then after that, I became the product manager for Coated Abrasives.
And one little detail you didn't share about your story is I love the educational pathway that Norton's been a part of, with you not just earning your bachelor's, but also your master's degree.
That's correct. Bond is very good about helping their employees continue their education. So at the age of 40, I went back to school and finished up my bachelor's, and then I went on to grad school and got my master's.
So let's get into it. Today, we are talking about the RazorStar FS1190 fiber disc. And from what I understand, this particular disc is designed specifically for carbon steel applications and features a patented engineered shaped ceramic grain that's really focused on high pressure metal removal and longer life. So at a high level, what were you looking to improve upon from a traditional fiber disc?
Yes, so for FS1190, we were looking for longer life, higher performing disc over traditional fiber disc. With RazorStar, we have the highest grain orientation there is in the market. The chemistry and the shape of the product allows for a longer life, sharper cut, faster removal rate than traditional discs that are currently out there.
And I think it's not just about cutting faster anymore. It's about consistency as well. So let's talk about maintaining that performance over time, which ultimately means better efficiency and less time spent changing discs or reworking parts as well.
Correct. Yes. If we can give the customer a product that lasts longer and performs at a higher rate, they're not necessarily changing disc out quickly. They're not having to rework product. The operators can get through grinding and get back to more productive work that needs to be done.
So it's not just about starting strong, it's also about holding that performance all the way through. And I know there's even a visual difference between the new product and how some of these other discs wear over time. What should people be looking for there?
Yes, so our current product, F990S, we developed it so that it's made for hard to grind metals, and we developed FS1190 for carbon steel applications. So we wanted definitely a color difference for that, so people know that yellow's for hard to grind and green would be for carbon steel applications. However, we did enhance the color of green. We used green so that it doesn't have necessarily a fade look over time. You'll start the disc out, you're grinding, and some people might go, "Oh, it faded a little bit." Fade doesn't tie in with wear if the disc is wore out. So, but we did definitely want a difference that operators on the floor and our customers could see, the disc and the differences of how they act and perform different applications and different metals.
And when you start to see that kind of consistent performance, I imagine there has to be a pretty direct impact on overall efficiency. So how does something like the FS1190 translate to cost savings or productivity gains on the shop floor?
RazorStar, we developed this. We talked to lots of customers. We went out and field tested this. We listened to what our sales reps were telling us, the feedback they're getting from our customers. And we designed a disc so that It's easy to use. You can put it on. You're not fighting the grinder. You can let the disc do the work. You don't have to put great amounts of force on things to remove it, or the grinder's trying to come out of your hands. It allows the operators, especially in today's, where maybe the workforce didn't quite have as much training as the previous generations, so or made a lot of turnover. You're dealing with newer employees. So this disc is easy to use. It removes a lot of material. You're not having to worry about changing a disc, like, oh, I got to change this disc every 5 minutes. The extended life, because of the shape, grain, and the overall chemistry of what we've done with the FS1190, has definitely improved downtime from changing. The disc lasts longer. Instead of having to maybe buy 3 to 5 discs, you can get it done with 1 disc. So definitely it all adds up to cost and time, because labor and time wasted is also a cost besides just the material itself.
Absolutely. So between looking at the longer life, fewer changeovers, and that consistent cut, you're really seeing gains on both the productivity and overall cost aspect as well.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, so we've talked a lot about performance and productivity, but what about the operator experience? What does this actually feel like to use day to day?
So I touched on it briefly earlier, but it's just like smooth as butter. A lot of the feedback we have gotten out in the field with customers, with operators, is they just love the way it feels when it's grinding. It's no tugging, it's no fighting it. You just put it on there, apply just a little force, slightly more than what the grinder is, and it removes metal like it's butter. It just removes it. A lot of operators have gave us positive feedback, and it's also a lot easier on the grinder. If you're using grinders and you're putting a whole lot of pressure, or fighting it, and the amperage is going up, you're wearing out grinders. So a lot of positive feedback.
All right, so where are you really seeing this FS1190 used? And are there certain industries or applications where you're seeing this disc is really standing out for your customers?
Pretty much, a lot of right angle grinding. That could be shipyards. It can be people, building structures and oil and gas, energy, MRO applications. Anything that's right angle grinding could definitely be used at a fiber disc. We've even had some sales reps out in the field at thin wheel applications, where they're using a grinding wheel or something like that. Grinding wheels are definitely a great product, but they're able to say, "Hey, how about this fiber disc?" So it's definitely this leading technology that we have is it can widely be used in any right angle grinding application.
Jeremy, this has been such a great conversation. It is clear that there's been so much thought and intention behind the RazorStar FS1190, from the performance and consistency to how it actually shows up on the shop floor. Thanks so much for joining us today on Tooling Up.
Thank you, Tony. It's a pleasure to be here.
It was great having Jeremy with us today. To learn more about the Norton RazorStar FS1190 fiber discs, visit www.mscdirect.com/product/RazorStar-FS1190. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Thanks, and we'll see you next time on Tooling Up.
Want more insights and ideas to improve the efficiency and productivity of your operations? Check out the Tooling Up video playlist to hear tips that can take your company to the next level. And subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out.